Hi guys and welcome, my name's Widgie and today I'm bringing you some more Gwent, the Witcher card game gameplay for you, and I'm going to be bringing you another beginner's deck guide for Skellige. Now this works on the Patricidal Fury leader ability here that you can see, and this is very Bloodthirst heavy and it relies a lot on the Wild Boar of the Sea card. So, without further ado, let's go down into detail of all these cards and then I'll show you some gameplay of the actual deck in action. So, let's start from the bottom up, but we'll first start with the leader ability here, so Patricidal Fury. So, it's an order, it's only a one-use order, and it spawns and plays Arnulf, the Patricide, I'm going to say, Arnulf there. So he's an 11 point card there, and he will spawn 3 Deafening Sirens on the opposite row, so on the opponent's row, and damage them by 1. So you're probably thinking, well, damage them by 1, how is that going to be any good? It works on the Bloodthirst mechanic within Skellige, which means that essentially by damaging those units by 1, you've immediately given yourself 3 Bloodthirsts. So we'll go into that in a little bit more detail when I'll show you a card that has Bloodthirst. So down below we have the Haymay Protector, so whenever an adjacent unit takes damage, boost self by 1. So that's quite good if the enemy is damaging your units, but more importantly if you have a card that will damage your units for you, because you do have a few cards that do that. So we'll move up to the Savage Bear. So the Savage Bear is quite good here because you gain 1 charge for each Savage Bear in your graveyard, and it already has Zeal, so which means that it can already use the order before the end of the turn, and it just applies 2 bleeding to an enemy unit. So once again, bleeding an enemy unit means that they're going to take damage at the end of their turn, which means it's going to increase the amount of Bloodthirst triggers that you have, which is good. And also it's good to get this bear on round 1 or round 2, because if you put him down and then he goes to the graveyard, it means if you can pick up your second bear will have 2 lots of charges, so essentially will provide a total of 4 bleeding, which is pretty good value. So that's the Savage Bear. So Stunning Blow, this is quite a good card, especially if you come up against opponents like Northern Realms or Nilfgaard that have armor. Also Scoatil have armor as well. So this is very good because it increases your damage from 4 to 7. So it's very powerful, ideally used against units that have armor, but once again very good removal card there. And then we get up to one of the sort of synergies within the deck, which is the Demon Corsair. So let's have a look at him. So he has Zeal, which means that he can perform his order before the end of the round. So the minute you put him down, you can play this. He has to be in the melee row, so the front row. And he gives an enemy unit bleeding again for 2 turns with a cooldown of 2. However, whenever you play a ship, decrease the cooldown by 1. So that's quite important. The only issue that you have with this card is removal. Potentially, so seeing as he's only got health of 3, he could either be silenced or removed from the board quite easily, so you may want to try and boost him up if you can with your tactical card, but it's entirely up to you. Anyway, so going above that, you can see that we have a lot of ships in our deck here. So we have the Armored Draka, we have the Ancrate Longship, we have the Dimmen Light Longship as well. So, a total of 5 ship cards in the deck, which is very good for Dimmen Corsair. So let's have a look at the Armored Draka. So at the end of your turn, if it has no armor, it gains 2 armor, and if it's exposed, it boosts itself by 1. So exposure means when it loses its armor. So pretty much a powerful card here, especially if you have Bloodthirst as well, because it will boost it by 2 instead of 1, which is really good. And this works really well. I'll just sort of bypass a couple of cards. This works well with the Full Blood Priest, because you can see here that on every allied turn on turn end, you damage the allied unit to the right by 1 and then boost yourself by 2. So it's a very good engine card, and if you don't know what engine means, hopefully I've got this correct because I'm quite new to the game as well, but engine means that a card that will keep providing you value throughout rounds. So it's not just a stagnant card, it doesn't just stay on the board and does nothing. It will most likely do something at the end of your turn or at the end of an opponent's turn, something like that. So that's very good with the Armored Draka there. You've got 2 long ships here, so these are just your standard sort of card. You'll see this when you first load up Gwent for the first time. In the Skellige deck, you will be given these cards. So it goes on the melee row, and whenever they play a unit, it will immediately damage it by 1. So it's really, really good getting that Bloodthirst on the board as soon as possible. And also it's a ship as well, which works well with the Demon Corsair. Then we go on to the Drummond Berserker. Now this card you don't necessarily have to have. It's a new addition to my deck, and it's a card that I found in a keg. I didn't pay any money for it at all. I just used the in-game currency to get a deck, and luckily I got this card. This card I believe is from the new expansion, the Master of Mirrors, and it's a pretty good card value-wise. So at the end of your turn, you damage yourself and a random enemy unit by 1, and then Berserk 2, you transform into a Bear Abomination, which is a 6-point card. So if you look at Berserk, you trigger the ability whenever your base power is equal to or lower than the specified amount. So after 3 turns of damaging enemy units, he will then immediately spin and transform into a Bear Abomination, which is pretty cool. So very, very good card for getting your Bloodthirst on the board. And also, this works well with the Protector, because if he takes damage, it's going to boost the Protector up. So once again, good sort of synergies there. What's next? The Dim and Light Longship. So this is very, very similar to the other ship. However, this one has Zeal and it has an Order instead, and it sits on the ranged row. Now, once again, it damages itself and then an enemy unit by 1. So the Haymay Protector will be very good for this. And also, it's a good card because you can start getting your Bloodthirst. You can start damaging units on the opposite row, which is you need to stack up as much Bloodthirst as possible. Now, this is a very, very crucial card for your deck. You really need this card for this deck to shine. So I am going to call it a beginner's deck. You won't have these cards in your deck when you first start off. However, you will receive this card sooner or later in some kegs. It crops up quite a lot. So as long as you are buying some Skellige kegs to open and get those cards, they're 100 ore each. Or if you do want to spend money, then by all means you can go ahead and do it. You'll pretty much be guaranteed an on-crate Greatsword. And they're very, very good units. So whenever an enemy unit on the opposite row takes damage, you boost self by 1. So this works very well with anything that has an order that will damage something. This card will immediately boost. It's very, very good. And also, even if the unit is boosted, as long as it takes damage, it will boost. However, if you're attacking an armoured unit, it will not proc because it's not taking damage because it's armoured. So just bear that in mind. So I've got 2 of those in my deck. Freya's Blessing, as I say, I could probably switch Freya's Blessing out potentially. However, it's very, very good to bring back any cards that the opposing player tries to remove. For example, if he takes a Greatsword away, it's a bronze card because of you see the outline of the card there. It's not gold, so it's a bronze. So you could bring back the Greatsword. What else could you bring back? Maybe the Demon Corsair, if he removes it early before you put any ships down, you might want to bring that back. So Freya's Blessing is very, very good to have, I think, in the deck. Moving on to our gold cards now. So first gold card is, I'm trying to pronounce his name, I'm going to call him Brokva. So Brokva here, he damages a unit by 1. He has 3 charges of that. And also, if you have 2 damaged enemy units on the other side, he gains Zeal, which means he can immediately use the Order. So, once again, this is very, very good for getting your enemy units bloodthirsted, so making sure that they're damaged. And also, it's very good for the long swords, or the great swords, sorry, down here, because you could immediately put that card down and you could hit 3 enemies or hit the same enemy 3 times, whatever you want to do, and it could boost this guy up to 7, which is really, really good. Moving on to another gold card, we've got the Vol guy. I'm just going to call him Vol. So he's the mage. You will get this card in your beginner deck when you start the game, and it just locks a unit. So it's very, very good to have. I would say in the early stages of learning the game, it's good to have. It's pretty much good to have some cards that remove units and also lock units, just in case they put a card down and you don't know how to deal with it. You can lock it, and it just disables the unit's abilities, so it's quite good. Next up, this guy is in your beginner deck as well, I believe. It's Donna and Hinder. So Donna, I call him Donna Kebabi. So Donna Kebab here. You deploy him, he damages an enemy unit by 2. However, once again, if you have the Bloodthirst, because that's what we want with this deck, it's all about Bloodthirst, you damage an enemy unit by 4 instead, which is good. Now, Skull is a card you won't get. This one, you could switch this card out for... I can't remember what other card you could switch it out for, but Skull, for example, you could switch out for... Let me just quickly go to the gold units here. So you could switch out Skull potentially for the Primordial here for quite a high, just sort of high card or high leveled card. Or you can maybe put the giant boar down potentially, but most likely I would say maybe replace that with the Primordial potentially, or another bronze unit. But let's go back there. So let's have a look at Skull. So Skull is a very good card to put down, most likely at the end of a round, because you do not want him to get to 5 health or below, because he will just destroy himself. That's what the Berserk is. Trigger this ability whenever a base power is equal to or lower than. So you kind of want to put him maybe on round 2 if you just want to put a high card down and then pass, or at the end of round 1, or at the end of round 3. You kind of want to do this, I imagine you want to do this card at the end of a round, ideally. Sigvold, once again, this card could potentially be replaced. This is not in your beginner deck either, so try see if you can figure out a card that you can maybe replace with this. But Sigvold here, he's melee order on the melee row, you damage a unit by 1, and if he goes below 4 health, if he's 4 health or below, it will start damaging units by 2. So very, very good card. Once again, damaging units on the other side to get that Bloodthirst up, and also to help with your great swords as well. And we have a very, very important card here, so Svanrige here. So once again, unfortunately, this guy I don't believe is in the beginner deck. However, it didn't take me very long to get him out of a keg. So as long as you've probably got about maybe 10 to 15 kegs, of Skellige kegs that is, you will hopefully find this guy eventually in it. So he's quite good. So if there's Bloodthirst of 3, so 3 damaged enemy units, he will boost himself by 5. So he will be an 11 point card, which is very, very good. So he works very, very well with the leader ability, because as I mentioned at the start, the minute you use the leader ability, it will create 3 units on the opposite side that are damaged. So what you could do is you could do your order and then immediately put down this card. So then that will be 11 points, and this will be 11 points here. So 22 points, and then it will spawn 3 on the other row. So 22 minus 3. So you're going to have 19 points. So that's a 19 point play, which is kind of crazy. I've still got Geralt, so you will have Geralt in your beginner deck when you start the game. And, you know, I'm probably thinking of removing him at some point in the future, but I just don't have a good card. I haven't found a good card yet in my kegs or anything to replace him. So once again, he's a very good removal card. You destroy an enemy unit with 9 or more power. So quite powerful if your opponent's stacked quite high on a card. And the final card, which is a big card for this deck. And once again, unfortunately, this is not in the beginner deck when you start the game. But I found it in a keg, and I've opened about 15 kegs probably. So, you know, unfortunately, there are some cards in here which, you know, are quite vital to this deck that you won't have available. But I suggest that you just try and match this deck as much as you can, and then just try and replace any cards that try and work on the Bloodthirst mechanic as much as you can. But this is the big one, so the Wild Boar of the Sea. So this is an extremely powerful card. So you put it on the melee row, you damage all damaged enemies by 1, and then damage all enemies by 1 again. So this works extremely well with your greatsword units that will increase whenever you deal damage to an enemy unit. So this can do significant damage, and also it works with the Bloodthirst again, because you want to be able to damage units as much as possible. And as you can see, first of all, it will damage all damaged enemy units. So that's why it's very, very crucial that you try and have as many damaged units on the opposite side as you can. So quite a lot there to cover, but that is the deck overall. As I've said, there are going to be some cards that you may not have. I know it's frustrating, guys. It is when you don't have the cards. Just keep buying the kegs and they will pop up and you'll be able to use them. As I say, if you don't have Wild Boar of the Sea, by all means, go for the Giant Boar. The Giant Boar here you could replace, which you boost it by 1 for each damaged unit, or boost self by the amount an enemy unit is damaged. So this can be a very powerful card as well to use if you don't have Wild Boar of the Sea. But without further ado, let's get into some gameplay of me playing this deck, and yeah, just to give you an idea of how to play the deck as well, and also try and think about the Bloodthirst and how to use it, especially with your great swords and also with the Wild Boar of the Sea and your Patricidal Fury here. All right, so let's get into it. Right, guys, so we're actually going to have to do a voiceover for this gameplay here, this match, because of the fact that I was just playing completely offline. I wasn't on stream or anything, so... And I was chatting to some friends, but my microphone was off, so you may hear every now and then some of my friends just randomly talk. But I do subsequently leave the Discord server, so yeah, it should be alright. Anyway, let's look at this. So you can see that I've switched out Freya's Blessing. The Freya's Blessing, I kind of don't like to start with 2 Freya's Blessings, so I kind of just mulligan one of them. And you can see there we've got our crucial card. The Wild Boar of the Sea is already in our hand there, so... I do get a little bit nervous. Maybe I should have mulliganed that and waited for round 3, because that's when you want to use it. But instead I decided to just keep a hold of it just in case. So we can see our opponent here playing Nilfgaard has put down the Ducal Guard, which has got the Assimilate status. And I was having a look at the Assimilate because I didn't really understand it. But it's whenever you play a card or whenever a card is generated that's not from your deck, from your hand, you will gain, it will boost up by however much. So I put the Armored Draka down there. Unfortunately, we don't have our Demon Corsair, which is that card that will reduce the cooldown of bleeding. So you can see back there just slightly, the Demon Corsair unit was still in our deck. It wasn't actually in our hand. So I decided to put the Armored Draka down because I have the Full Blood Priest, which is the second card along there in my hand, which will be able to have quite a good synergy here. So I'm pretty sure that's what I go for next. Because I was thinking at this point, I was like, what can I actually do? So I thought the Full Blood Priest is pretty good, because if I don't have the Demon Corsair card, I can definitely put this down. So he's going to steal 1 health and then boost him up 2, so that's a +1, a net of +1 there. And obviously the card I've just put down as well. So we are 10 for 10 on score. So looking okay. I am always very scared of Nilfgaard because they have a lot of lock ability. So they can have a lot of cards that can lock your units and move your units around and steal your units as well. That's sort of how Nilfgaard kind of, the foundations of Nilfgaard anyway, as a faction in this game. So you can see here he's put the Armoured Cavalry down, which I'm kind of annoyed at. I did notice that it was a bronze card, so my feeling is he's probably got another one in his deck somewhere. It's either going to be in his hand, or it'll be most likely in his hand, either in round 2 or 3. So that kind of sucked, getting that locked, because it denies me now of getting my little synergy there, my little machine going. So yeah, so I thought, well, what can I do next? Let's put down the bear, because the way the Savage Bear works is when that one goes to the graveyard, when you get your second one, you'll be able to actually put 2 instances of bleeding down, which is good. So it's a good value card, I think. So Vanamir here, so he deploys it on the range row, and it just, yeah, you can just hear my friend there. That kind of creeped me out a bit. You can just hear him calling for a Call of Duty Warzone. So apologies for that.
Not good.
So yeah, so I'm kind of thinking here, what can I do, because I've got him in the graveyard, and I think, hang on a minute, I've got Freya's Blessing, so I'll put him back down again, and hopefully it won't get locked. So, you know, there it goes, that good little synergy, good little machine there, or synergy, it's probably a synergy actually, isn't it? And you can see here, he actually plays, this is kind of crazy, he plays his strategic withdrawal. He plays it on a bronze card, which I thought was very, very flippant. I still don't understand to this day why he did that, because it's a very powerful leader ability and he's only got one use of it, and he decides to use it on a bronze. And he's probably got way more powerful cards that he could put down a second time. So I was very surprised at that. So that was good news for me that he actually used his leader ability there to deal with this Full Blood Priest. Because, I mean, look, how many cards we got left? Maybe this Full Blood Priest might have got maybe another 4 or 5 points max. It's not a major issue for him as long as he can try and lock other cards and deal with other cards I put down. But yeah, that was kind of crazy, to be honest. So that was a plus for me. I knew at that point this game might go quite well. So have a look here. So Joust. So that was kind of a weird one as well. I didn't really understand why he did that. I still don't understand to this day why he jousted. I think he was saying about if a unit's got shield. But I think he was confused because I had... Yeah, I don't understand what really happened there. Maybe pop it down in the comments below and try and figure out what happened there, because whatever he did, it didn't work out for him at all. Because it was supposed to do more damage than that, but I think it was because of the fact that I had 2 pieces of armor. I had 2 armor, not 1 armor. So you can see that it just re-armors. So it doesn't make much sense. He kind of just wasted that card. So immediately there, I'm feeling good because he's got 4 cards. I've got 5 cards. He's played a lot of gold cards and he's used his leader ability. And he didn't really beat me by many points there. So I'm feeling pretty good. So this round I've got to win, obviously, to bring it to round 3. So you can see here I've got a great sword, really good unit for the kind of deck we're playing. The Svanridge there is a good unit for the late game for round 3. But as I say, I was quite worried. I didn't want to lose him for round 3, so I've kept him in the deck. And here I'm just sort of hoping that the opponent will pass, because he is a card down. So ideally for him, it would be best just to pass now, because he'll get 3 cards. So there'll be more of a chance of him getting a card he wants, and I'll only be given 2 cards. So there'll be a lower chance of me receiving a card that I want. But instead, he goes for it, which I thought was crazy. Very ballsy. Only if you're super confident, you tend to push for round 2. That's what I've noticed from the streams I've been watching and the games that I've played. Is that, you know, unless you're really confident and maybe you're on the same number of cards and you want to take him for round 2, then go for it. But he went straight out here, and that was a really unfortunate play for him. So he played a card that picked 2 random gold cards, and he had to pick Sears. Now Sears is only really good if you seize a unit, but there was no units on my side, so it was basically a pointless card. He just stole back one of his own cards. So he got like no value with that card. So he's played 2 gold cards straight off the bat. He's played a bunch of other gold cards in round 1 as well. And I'm still looking pretty good here. So I am feeling very confident now, because he's had 2 bad plays. As I say, it's sometimes weird when you're playing at this sort of low level, because I'm ranked 22 in this. You'll notice that there'll be some pretty good players who are on the ball, and they're sort of learning very quickly on how to play the game, and they'll absolutely destroy you. You'll come across people that, you know, sort of same skill as you, and it's a crazy tight game. And then you'll come across people who still don't fully have an idea of how to use their cards and will slip up quite a lot. So you can see they put the greatsword on the front row, and I used my ship there to ping 1 damage, and that boosted my greatsword. See, he actually used, I think that was Orcs there. So he used Orcs, which is another powerful card, and he silenced or destroyed one of my greatswords, which is kind of a shame, but I had a feeling that he might do that. I put Sigvold down because it's just a good 6-point card, and you know, it does some damage. I had a very horrible feeling that he might try and lock that unit, and unfortunately I think he does. And there it is. So he's actually played that card 3 times, because he uses a leader ability before in round 1 to replay the card. So he's actually locked 3 of my units, which is really annoying for me. But we had Freya's Blessing, which helped us out last time. And we're just trucking on. We're just pushing through it all. Because you notice, even though he's locking cards, the cards that he puts down have low value. So you can see I'm 12 for 5 here. Yes, and I'm a card up actually. Look, 12 for 5 at 5 and a card up. And you can see here that I'm going to pass with a card up as well, which is crazy. So that is one of the reasons why you should never really play round 2 unless you're super confident that you're going to win it. That's just in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are some strategies where you have to win round 2. But for me, it's very, very risky. And you can see it didn't work out for him, and he's actually a card down. And I've still got my really powerful card, the good old what was it? The War of the Sea? I don't even know what it's called. Boar of the Sea. That's quite embarrassing. I don't even know what the name of the card is. But yeah, the top left one there, the big old ship that does loads of damage over all the units. And luckily I mulligan and I get a greatsword, which is really awesome. So I'm feeling pretty good now. I've got at least one greatsword. I've got a lot of gold cards, and I'm ready to go. I keep the mage there, the 5-point card there to lock an enemy unit. I kept that just in case he had some crazy card that really I couldn't deal with and might need to potentially lock. So you can see I'm looking at the graveyard because I've got Freya's Blessing. I'm thinking to myself, what shall I pull out of the graveyard? And I'm thinking, well, the greatswords are bronze, so I'm pretty certain next time I use Freya's Blessing, and then I get the second greatsword. I go a bit greedy here, because I'm thinking to myself, how much removal does this guy have left? He's used a lot of cards to lock things and everything, and yeah, so this Imperial Golem here is quite an interesting play. Unfortunately, it was only a 4-cost unit. So it dropped it down from 11 to 7. So I'm thinking here, do I use my leader ability, or do I try and go greedy and put a second greatsword down and see if I can keep them in place? There's quite a lot of plays I could do here.
Patient, but she brooks no insult.
What I actually could have done, thinking about it, is I could have played the you see the middle card there in my hand. That has 3 charges to do 3 instances of damage. What I could have done is done my leader ability on the back row. That would have boosted my greatsword by 3, and then put another card down and boosted the greatsword by another 3 points. But you see, instead what I do is I put the greatsword on the back row, and then I do the leader ability. So, because what I thought to myself, I thought, well, if I at least boost one greatsword, you know, it will reduce the chance of both of them being removed. So unfortunately he goes ahead and he removes my greatsword, which is a shame. He didn't want that there at all, so he instantly used that. He could have waited. I don't know why he didn't actually. He could have waited. I could have put another unit either on the other side of that 11-point card there, and he could have got way more value, but he just instantly wanted to get rid of it. So sometimes you really want to play a card, but it's just best to hold off on the card, wait for the perfect moment, try and anticipate what your opponent is going to do, and then strike. Anyway, so I put this 11-point card down there that boosts, I can't remember the name of the card still. There, Wild Boar of the Sea is the main one there, but yeah, that will boost by 5, so it boosts up to 11.
Truly.
He's put down an engine card there at the back. And that is, yeah, whenever an enemy unit has a status, boost self by 1. So this is where I use my Vol guy. Yeah. So I use him, and I lock that unit down, because I'm thinking that's the only thing that's going to give him extra value at the moment. He's got 3 cards left. Maybe I should have just left it, but who knows. Now he plays Seret, which is a very, very crucial card with Nilfgaard.
Makes no difference to me.
But he got rid of Orcs because he used Orcs already, so it didn't do as much damage. So that's good. So my greatsword's still alive, which is awesome.
You only live once!
Now I put this guy down, which is what I mentioned before. And annoyingly, he's strategically putting all of his units at the back row because I've got my greatsword on the front row. So, yeah. Now, I don't use all the charges on that card. I only use 2 because I want as many damaged units as possible, so I get the most value out of my wild boar of the sea. So I'm feeling pretty confident. Look at the score right now, 31 to 19, and I've got an extra card. So feeling very, very good. I put that card down, Skull, which is a nice 10-point card, and I do rile him up a little bit, and then he immediately decides to forfeit the game. So there you have it. Moving on to the next clip on my stream, I believe. Enjoy. Okay.
Here's the better loot than your wildest,
Syndicate
dreams.
Player. I don't think I've ever played against a Syndicate. Interesting. We're looking okay at the moment here. That's quite good. Don't really want wild boar, to be honest. There we go.
Come on.
Yeah, alright. Could put the dim course. Oh, okay, right. Seriously, mate. You're very rude. Me to come on all the time.
Got a bad case of rower's back.
See how this guy does. I mean, I don't think I've ever played against syndicates. This is going to be very, very interesting. So spawn a fire sworn zealot on an allied row and gain a coin. Interesting. So he's obviously alright. He's using all of them. Okay, right, fair enough. At least I can use my ability on one of them. Oh, interesting. Okay.
If I must die, I will die in glorious battle.
Immunity. It's very good. Very good play. Well, there's no point in putting ships down at the moment, is there, really? This guy's got immunity, which is really annoying because a lot of my units... I might actually play the priest, actually. This guy's so rude. I'll play the priest because I want to play the Draka next, and hopefully I'll have a target next turn. But we'll see. So what I'm planning on doing is actually putting all this sort of footage together and putting it in a video, pretty much calling it Road to Rank 23 or something like that. And then I'll do another video where I go to Rank 22 and I'll just have some gameplay footage of me trying to progress and learning the game. Something for the newer players and more inexperienced ones to try and understand. Right, okay, so we actually have... That's quite good.
Come on. Come on.
This guy's so annoying. Why is he being like this?
Come on.
There we go. So he's got 6 coins now. So I know that there's this sort of coin system that you use. You can have a maximum 9. Your coin count is reduced by half whenever carried over into the next round. Interesting. So put that down. It's given him a charge. Banish only, then play the top card from your deck if the target is
be renounced by kin,
condemned
by your children.
3 cards from your deck. He's using some sort of fire sworn deck.
Blessed light so fine, it shall forever shine.
Whenever you spawn 1 or more units to the battlefield, boost yourself by 1. Interesting.
Come on.
This guy's really annoying. Can I mute him? Seal. Try that. We might get our greatsword on next, to be honest.
By denying penance, you confirm your guilt.
Okay. He's going to keep boosting, which is kind of annoying. Yep. We might do... trying to think what to do here, because we want to get the greatsword down, so...
Uncrate!
That's probably good. Because we do have this guy here, that we kind of want to use if we can, so that then we can get our greatsword up even more. Boost adjacent units by 1, tribute 4, boost all units in this row by 1 instead. Interesting.
Cleanse
Right,
our
okay, yeah, so he's...
souls.
Interesting. It's good. Yeah, I might use that actually. Just for now.
Come on.
Let's try that. We're not looking too bad here. I just need to make sure that I can... Oh, see, he's got a lot of fire sworn stuff here. Keeps boosting them up. Which is not what I want, because I kind of want to do some damage here. And I've only got Bloodthirst 1 here. I might put the bear down, or Sigvold, actually.
Glory to Svalbard!
Cool. I mean, he could take full blood out potentially. This is going quite well. This is getting us a lot of value here. We've still got quite a bit here, but it all depends on if we can get some bloodthirst out. Which is becoming difficult because he's getting his stuff up here, which is... Well, I'll be able to play this guy next. Yep. Yep, so we'll deploy him. Wait, can he still be... Yeah, we need to get rid of him. It's not going to give us what we want, but...
Calm yourselves.
There you go. Yeah, because whenever he gets exposed, he boosts himself by 1. And also if there's bloodthirst, you boost by 2 instead. So this is actually doing pretty good now. So he might pass here. Got a feeling he might pass. There you go. Didn't get much from Sigvold there, but it's fine. We kind of don't want to play round 2, so it depends what we can put down. Double Freya's Blessing, interesting. Kind of don't want double of that. We could maybe play him. Actually, no, let's just play the Savage Bear, because then he'll go into the graveyard and potentially we will get another Savage Bear that could do a little bit more damage. So maybe let's just play this round, but let's do finish redrawing. Annoyingly, we go first. Yeah. Is it worth just putting him down?
Come on.
Yeah, alright. So annoying.
Come on.
Let's just put the bear down. We'll just end turn. Actually, I put myself at a disadvantage here playing that. I shouldn't have played anything. I should have dry passed. Unless this was a high card unit, but it's not. Depends what he uses now, I guess. If it's more than 4, it may well be. He's got no coins though, but... Okay.
Never a problem 4 inches of steel couldn't solve.
You are worthy neither of mercy nor forgiveness.
Yeah, thing is now, if I pass, he's a card up, which is kind of annoying. But I can't really do much.
Come on.
Yeah. That was kind of a silly play. Shouldn't have done that, really. Yeah. I should have just dry passed. So there's a mistake there. So now he's going to have a card more than me. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to try and win. Just kind of silly, really, what I did there. That's actually quite good. That's good for what I need here. I need that, so that's good. That's good, that's good. Yeah, I think we're pretty good, actually. What could we get? We could get another great sword, maybe. Or we could maybe get a long ship. So yeah, I think this is good. I don't think I need to do anything here. I mean, annoyingly, we haven't got, you know, this guy here or anything like that, so... Horde 9. Trigger this ability if you possess a specific number of coins or more. Summon this unit from your deck or graveyard to a random allied row. Okay. We could just swipe that, to be honest.
Come on.
Actually put him down. Then we'll put the Drummond Berserker down. Depends if he can take it out though. He might be able to.
Should have stayed put on the Isles.
Okay. It's fine.
Take more than that to stop me.
So at least we're getting value now with the Protector. Annoyingly, it's hitting him. When we play a unit next to...
Those who seek wisdom in dreams perish as fools.
Yeah, we kind of need to deal with that, but...
Now watch this.
Yeah, I see what he's going to do
Asked
here.
for it.
So there's going to be a lot of shield here, and I'm not going to be able to do much. Let me think here.
Come on.
Hang on, let me think. Stop saying come on all the time.
Thanks.
Fill our hearts with wrath.
Okay. I'm interested if he's going to put everything on the front row here. Probably.
How low we have fallen.
Come on.
Let me think
Come
here.
on. Come on.
Just trying to think actually. Spawn
Come
3 deafening sirens in the opposite row. Take damage.
I once lopped off 3 heads with one blow.
I love how you just like constantly telling me to come on all the time. It's so funny. It's like, come on, do something.
Come on.
Okay.
My ink! Confess or be damned!
Come on.
Wanna know why I got my scar? You only live once!
There we go. Big play there. It's actually worked out for the first time for me.
Cast off decadence! Renounce sin!
Probably prevent the unit to the left of him taking any damage. So we may as well just hit him for 4. Why not? As well use it. There we go. So this is actually quite good because it's going to damage all all damage units by 1, and then damage all of them again. That's quite good.
Come on.
Boom. Yeah, all that talk. Get wrecked. Nice. First actual win with the deck. Yeah, he was all about like, come on, come on. And yeah, we put it to him. So